operations of a list as well as a set. Okay, now we are going to discuss about the third stream, which is map. Okay, the third stream is map stream. Okay, that's what I told morning, right? Okay, am I correct? In the morning I told that in the evening we'll discuss about the map stream. Am I right? Did I forget anything? Okay, so anyhow, even if I forget, we'll discuss later on. So now we are going to discuss. Now we are going to discuss about the map stream. Okay, map is quite different when compared to other collections. Map is different when compared to list, set, and queue. Okay, well, for list, set, and queue, the objects will be directly added to the collection. So if we go for a list, we'll directly add the objects to a list. If it is a set, then we can directly add elements to a set. But for a map, okay, the entries or the elements that we add is quite different. Okay, the map is a collection which is used to represent a key value pair. A very important thing is, map is a collection which is used to represent a key value pair. Map is a collection which is used to represent a key value pair. Map is a collection which is used to represent a key value pair. Okay, so there are several scenarios where we need to go for a key value pair. For example, your roll number as a key and the whole information about you as a value. Okay, your SSN or your other card number as a key and the whole information of you as a value. So there are many real-time scenarios where we need to represent some key value pairs. What is the key and what is the corresponding value? To represent such key value pairs in a collection, we use the map stream. And map is not a sub-interface of collection. Map is not a sub-interface to collection. Okay, map is an independent interface from collection. Map will not be a sub-interface to collection. Even though the collection is considered to be the base entity in the collection API, map is quite different and it is not a sub-interface to collection interface. And map is a collection which is used to represent key value pair. There are several implementations of map. First one is hash map, linked hash map, hash table, tree map, weak hash map. Okay, these are the 5 implementations for a map: hash map, linked hash map, hash table, tree map, and weak hash map. We'll discuss about them one by one. Okay, but the major and the primary feature of the map stream will present a collection which is a key value pair. Okay, now let me develop a simple example which represents a map. The list and set almost resemble the same, but map is quite different when compared to the list and set. So I told that map is a key value pair. So let me develop a simple map. We're taking the first implementation. What is the first one? Hash map. Let me import this map as well as hash map. Map is interface and hash map is the corresponding implementation. Okay, both are in Java.util package. Now, to add some elements to a map, okay, just we use the method put. Put is a method which is used to add some elements to the map. To add elements to the map, the method put is used. Okay, as we told that map is a key value pair. Map is a key value pair, and the first argument of the put is key, and the second argument is value. So let me have a key. A is the key, 100 is the value. So we represent a map which is a key value pair. We are now creating a map which is a key value pair, and the key can be any object as well as value also can be any object. Key can be any of the objects and value also can be any of the objects. Even if we put 100, okay, 100 will be converted into corresponding wrapper class object and 100 will be put as a value. But a key as well as value of a map will be objects, and they can be any objects. Okay, like this, we have three key value pairs. Key is A and value is 100. Key is B, value is 200. Key is C, value is 300. Like that, we have three key value pairs. The key of the map can be any of the objects as well as value also can be any of the objects. Okay, now let me print the map. Now I am printing the value of the map. In map also, in any hash map, linked hash map, hash table, tree map, as well as weak hash map. In all the classes, toString equals hash code, all the methods are overridden. Okay, so we try to compile the application. So it was compiled. Go to the classes, execute the application. So the map, if you print the map in a string format, it will print like this: key equal to value, key equal to value, and key equal to value. Okay, so it is map is a key value pair, and each and every key value pair is called as a entry. Each and every key value pair is called as a entry. See, first entry, second entry, and third entry. And map is not an indexed collection. Map is not a indexed collection. There is no concept of indexing in case of map. Only in case of list there is indexing. In map and set there is no indexing. And as we told that we can put any value as a key as well as any object as a value. So now previously we have string as a key, now we have double as a key, okay, and string as a value, and we can have even boolean as a key, or any object. See, now the key is boolean, value is person object. Like this, key can be any object as well as map value also can be any of the object. There is no restriction. The key should be of specific type or value should be of specific type. Any object in Java can act as a key as well as any object in Java can act as a value in a map. Okay? So, if we try to compile, was compile successful, go to the classes, execute application. So now key is A, value is 100, key is C, value is 300, key is false, value is 100, 100 colon Ravi, that means person object. Key is 100.88, value is X. Now if you see here, is hash map following the insertion order? Is hash map following the insertion order? Yes? Hash map is not following the insertion order. Like I have said, we cannot expect any order in case of hash map also. Like I have said, even in case of hash map, we cannot expect any order. There is no order. It randomly adds elements to the map and it will randomly pick the elements from the map.
Every time we compile and we run the
Order may change or may be the same. We cannot expect. See, if it run this same application 10 or 20 times, it may or may not give 20 times the same order. The order might be changing. Okay? In case of hash map as well as hash set, we cannot guarantee any order. Now, is map eliminating the duplicates? Yes or no? Yes. But it's not duplicate elimination. It is not duplicate elimination here. If we give a map with the same key twice, if we give a map with the same key twice, let's consider like I have given the same key and the value as 400. Okay? Key is the same, but the value is changed. Now, what is the value that is executed? The first value or the latest value? Latest value. Okay? If you give the same key again, or if you enter the same key again to a map, or if you enter the same key for the second time to a map, the latest value will override the existing value. But the latest value will override the existing value. If you give the same key to a map, the latest value will override the existing value. See, the first one is the key and second one is the value, right? In entry, first is the key, second is the value. So what is the latest value? 400. Okay? But the key is the same. Both the keys are same, C and C. But the values are changing. Whether the values are changing or not, if we give the same key multiple times, if we give the same key multiple times, multiple entries will not be there. With the same key, value will be changing. For the same key, value will be changing. For the same key, value, the latest value will be overriding the existing value. So let's consider that we have a C and C. So keys are the same. If keys are the same, let's consider like with the key C, existing value is 300. So the 300 value will be overridden with the value 400. Okay? Like that it will be. Okay? In any case, we cannot have two keys with the same value. In any map, whether it might be a hash map, linked hash map, tree map, or any map, we cannot have two keys with the same value. We cannot have two keys with the same value in any map. It's not possible. But if we try to give the same key but different value, the latest value will override the existing value. But at any point of time, map consists of unique set of keys. At any point of time, map consists of unique set of keys. At any point of time, map consists of unique set of keys. At any point of time, map consists a unique set of keys. Keys cannot be duplicated in case of map. Simply, keys cannot be duplicated in case of map. But values can be duplicated. Keys cannot be duplicated, but values can be duplicated. Now, do we have any duplicate values in the map? Do we have any duplicate values in the map? Yes. Do we have any duplicate keys? No. But duplicate values are possible in case of a map, but duplicate keys is impossible. Okay? Duplicate values are possible, but duplicate keys are impossible. So now let me have a class address. Okay, the address is having door number, street name. Let me override the toasting method. So, just I have door number plus street name in the toString method. Now, let me add two address objects as keys. Let me have an address constructor. So I have constructed the address object. Now let me have two address objects as keys. Now let me consider that we have X. Now what could be the size of this map? Even in the map we have a method size which determines the number of entries present in the map. Size method will determine the number of entries present in the map. Each and every key value pair in a map is called as an entry. The size method will determine the number of entries present in the map. Now, what would be the size of the map? Will it be 4 or 5? Definitely 4. Just because this is one entry, this is one other entry, this is another entry, and this is another entry. These 4 has unique keys. But here the key is the same. So the latest value will be overridden. So the size is 4 or 5? 4. So now the map size is 4. So the size is 4. So now let me add two address objects as keys. So I am adding address object as a key and 300 integer wrapper class object as a value. Okay, address is the key, integer wrapper class object is the value here. So let me add the same address object even here also. Understood? So now what would be the size of the map? Will it be 4 or 5? Will it be 4 or 5? 5? Sure? What could be the size of this map? Will it be 4 or 5? 4? Any other answer? Who tells 4? Who accepts that it is 4? Who accepts that it is 5? The size is 5. Non-static. What is non-static here? Non-static variable this cannot be referenced from a static constructor. Where we have used this? Inside? Sorry. It's inside the class. It will be an inner class. Okay? It's a problem. It's my mistake. Let me compile the application, go to the classes, and execute the application. Now, what is the size? What is the size? 5. Now, what is the value? What is the key? What is the key? 1, 2, 3, 4 Gachibowli, as well as 1, 2, 3, 4 Gachibowli. Now, are those is the content of these two objects the same or different? Same. Even if the content of these two objects is the same, why these two objects are not considered to be identical objects? Why these two objects are not said to be identical objects, and why the runtime environment is not considering these two objects as duplicate objects. Why the runtime environment is not considering these two objects as duplicate objects or these two keys as duplicate keys?
And now we are using the same string. But we are using the different string. It will be different. That content is different.
No.
And acting upon the address of the object. It might be acting upon the object. And the object basically is created in the middle address.
No. The answer is not incomplete.
Yeah.
Just you have told the 10% of the answer.
You have to tell two objects are equal, it should be equal and actual numbers. But by default,
That's a perfect answer. You have to evaluate whether two objects are identical or not. Internally, equals and hash code methods will be used. But did we override equals and hash code method for the address class? No. So they will use the object class equals method where the object class equals method will verify the address for identity. For identity, the object class equals method will verify the address. Are the address of these two objects the same? No. Difference. So equals method will return true or false. If we compare these two objects for identity, equals method will return true or false? False. So they are not eliminated as duplicates. So if you want to make or if you want to compare the identity of two objects based on the content, definitely we should override equals and hash code method. So whatever the attributes that we have used in equals, the same set of attributes should be used even in hash codes also. Okay. Since both are strings, I am looking directly. Am I correct? Am I correctly overriding the equals and hash code methods? Am I correctly overriding equals and hash code methods? Yes or no? What equals method contains? I am comparing the door number as well as the street name. Door number and street name are equal, then only I am returning true. Otherwise, it will return false. Then I am sending door number hash code value plus street name hash code value. So since both are strings, we need not to convert them again to a string and add them. Directly, we can execute the hash code method, add them and return them. Just in a single step, I am doing all the things. Understood? So now the equals and hash code methods are overridden. Okay? And once the equals and hash code methods are correctly overridden as per the content of the object, then those two objects will be considered as duplicate objects, and then now in this scenario the size of the map will be 4. Okay, so we try to compile and execute the application. Now what is the size? Just because now those two address objects, okay, these two address objects are said to be identical objects. Just because equals and hash code methods are correctly overridden and those two objects have the same content. So it's ideal to override an equals and hash code method for any model object, for any Java bin. For any Java bin, it's ideal to override toString equals and hash code method. Okay? We have several realistic scenarios where we need to compare the objects and compare the identity of the objects. So in that scenarios, use equals and hash code method overriding is very useful and very important. So if we write any new Java bin class which has some properties, then we should override equals and hash code method as well as toString method. Okay?
So what if I want to override the next one? What if I want to override the next one?
Then it will not eliminate the duplicates. I told in the very first class itself, two objects will be said to be identical, or two objects will be considered to be identical by the JVM only when equals method returns true and hash code method returns the same hash value. Okay? That we have told while discussing object class only. Okay? And duplicates are not eliminated by default in case of map values. Okay? In case of values, duplicates are not eliminated by default. So now the key is false, which is a boolean, and the value is address. So now what would be the size of the map? Still it is 4. Just because by default duplicates will not be eliminated with respect to the value. Duplicates will be eliminated with respect to keys. Okay? So even if we try to give the same key to a map, what happens is the latest value will override. Okay? The latest value will override the existing value. Now, what is the value that exists? 300 or 500? 500. The latest value will exist. Okay? For the same key. But keys will be unique in a map. In any map. In any map, keys will be unique. So, the size is 4 and the values will exist as duplicates. And null values are allowed both as keys as well as values. Null values are allowed both as key as well as value. In case of hash map, null values are allowed both as key as well as values. In case of hash map, null values are allowed both as keys as well as values. Okay? Now, what could be the size of the map? Let me give. Now just tell, what is the size of the map? Is it 3? or 4 or 5? 3? Null values are allowed in the case of hash map both as key as well as value. So now the size is 3. Okay. Even in case of null, okay. Even in case of null case, okay, overriding of the latest value will happen. Overriding of the latest value will happen even in case of null case. Okay. Even a null, okay, it will be unique. Even in null, the keys will be unique in a map. And to get the value that exists in the map, to find the number of entries in the map, which method is used? To find the number of entries present in the map, which method is used? Size. To get the value that is present in the map, we will give get method. We use get method to get the value present in the map. So what happens? Now what happens? Error? What is the value printed? What is the value that exists in with the key A? Is there any entry with the key A? If there is an entry, then it will return the value of the entry. If there is no entry, then it will return null. Get method will return the value if there is an entry with that key. Get method will return the value if there is a key with that particular entry. If there is no key, okay, if there is no entry with that particular key, if there is an entry with that particular key, then it will return the value. If there is no entry with that particular key, then it will return null. If there is an entry with that particular key, then the get method will return the value. If there is no entry with that particular key, then the get method will return null. Now, will it be null or any other value? What is the value? 100. But the return type of the get method is object. Just because the value can be any object. The value can be integer or string or address or double or boolean. The value can be any object. So the return type of the get method is object. So what we need to do is, after getting, we need to typecast it into integer, into the specific value or into the specific data type. So telling that get method return type is object, but you are assigning to integer. Can we assign object to integer? Can we assign object to integer? It's not possible. We can assign integer to object, but we cannot assign an object to integer. So what we need to do is, we need to typecast into integer. Okay? We need to typecast into integer and assign the value. Just because the get method will return, the return type of get method is object. Java line without object. The compiler will not allow assignment of object to integer. The compiler will not allow, okay, the assignment of object to integer. So what we do is we typecast that into integer. Okay, we typecast that into integer, and then it will be typecast. It will be converted. It's bit disturbing here. So now it will be compiled as well as executed successfully. So the value that exists in the with the key A is 100. Okay? Now what happens? Will you compile the error or no? Just see once again. Just see once again. Compile the error. Why did you compile the error? Why it is a compiler? See, this is not the answer, right? If I ask why it is a compiler error, if you tell that it is uncompilable, it's not the answer. There is a reason why it will not be compiled. But your first answer is correct. It will compile very successfully. But you should be confident enough while telling the answer. You should be confident and enough clarified while telling the answer. Even if the interviewer asks 100 or 200 times, you should be confident and you should not switch the answer. Okay? Definitely it will not give a compile time error. Just because the compiler will think, the compiler will not know the value is 3.14 or x or y or z. The compiler will think whether get method can take 3.14 or not. The compiler doesn't know what is the value present in the key. The compiler will consider just, can I give 3.14 to get method or not? Can I give 3.14 as input to get method? Yes, it's possible. Now, what is the return type of get method? Object. Can I typecast object into integer? Yes. Can I assign integer to integer? Yes. The compiler will not verify the values, the compiler will verify only the data types. I told hundreds and hundreds of times. Compiler will not verify the values, compiler will just verify the data type. The compiler will just verify, okay, can we input 3.14 to get method or not? Yes. Get method can take 3.14 as an input. Now, what is the return type of get method? It's object. Can we typecast object into integer? Yes, it's possible. But at the runtime, what the runtime environment will check? Where it is referring to. Then, what is the value of the entry that has a key of 3.14? What is the value, okay, of the entry whose key is 3.14? What is the value? It is a address object with street name Lingampalli and door number is 123. So, can we typecast this address object into integer? No. So at the runtime, what is the exception that will get? Class cast exception. So it's not a compile time error, it's an exception at the runtime, which is a class cast exception. Again and again I'm telling, while checking for compile time errors, don't check the values. Check only the data types. I told it many times, and again I'm repeating that. Don't check the values while verifying compile time errors. Just verify only the data types. Understood? Now this is about get method, and I'm not sure remove is there. I'm not sure. I think remove is not there. Let me see. Yes, remove. Okay. Remove method will be used to remove the entry based on the key. A remove method will be used to remove the entry based on the key. Remove method is used to remove the entry based on the key. And even there is a empty method, okay? There is a method is empty in the map, which is used to verify whether the map is empty or not. Is empty method in the map is used to verify whether the map is empty or not.
Sir, integrate method can be used to value. Integrate method.
Any operation of a map should be based on a key, not the value.
And the remove is the value not present. Then it will be exception.
No, it will not remove. It will not remove anything.
Sir, in my both PM and both are unique. At least when we are giving same and different value, then latest value update the existing value. In final map, both are unique.
No, both doesn't exist, right? The same key exists, but the latest value will exist. The existing object will be garbage collector.
But neither key is repeating there nor value is repeating there.
No. The value can be repeated, right? Here, what we are doing, let's consider like 400, sorry, 300. Now, let's consider like let me give the same key 300, same value 300. Now is 300 repeating? Yes or no? Yes. Value can be repeated, but even though if we try to repeat the key, okay, with this key latest value will be overridden.
Different key will be.
Yeah. the map.isEmpty will be used to verify whether the map is empty or not. Okay. Now definitely isEmpty will return false. Again the same clear method will be used to clean up or to flush out the elements or to flush out the entries from the map. The same in case of list and set. The clear method will be used to flush out the entries from the map. So now will isEmpty will return true or false? Now isEmpty will return true or false? False. Is it false or true? Definitely true. Just because what clear method will do? It will flush out all the elements from the map. If all the entries from the map are flushed out, the size of the map will be 0. The size of the map is 0, isEmpty will return true. Understood? The size of the map, there are no entries in the map. There are no entries in the map, isEmpty will return true. And in list or set there is a method contains. Why contains is used? To verify whether the object is present in that list or set or not. The same way, in a map we have a method contains key.
Clear method flash out all entries. Clear method flash out all entries.
Yes. There is a method contains key. The contains method. Okay, the contains method in any collection. Okay, will compare the objects. Will compare the identity of the objects based on equals and hash code method. The contains method in any collection will compare the identity of objects based on equals and hash code method. So now, will it return true or false? Will it give true or false? Will it give true or false?
True.
True? Just analyze false? It is true. Now, in case of address, are the equals and hash code methods overridden? Yes. Now, it will verify whether there is an address object with the street Gachibowli and door number 1234 as a key. Do we have any address object with a street Gachibowli and address 1234 as a key? Yes. This is that one, right? So this will return true. So the contains method will verify against equals and hash code method for identity. That exists will return true. But if I comment the equals and hash code methods, let me comment the equals and hash code methods and see. Now I have commented the equals and hash code methods for address class. Okay? Now let us see what happens. Is it returning true? False. Okay? Just because the contents method, any contents method, okay? Any contents method in any collection will verify the identity of the objects based on the equals and hash code method. Understood? And there is another method contains value. Okay? So, will it be true or false? Will it be true or false? Equals method is not commented, it's there. If it is there, then will it return true or false? Just see whether it will return true or false. Will it return true or false? Definitely false. Just I have gone for a method contains value. Is there any address object as a value with street Gachibowli? Is there any address object as a value with the street Gachibowli in this map? There is an address object with the street Gachibowli and door number 1234, but that exists as a key. The contents value will verify against to the value whether this object exists as a value or not. But this object doesn't exist as a value, this object exists as a key. So that it will return false. Just I go to SRC, compile the application, go to the classes, execute the application. Class cost exception. What is class cost exception? Java 59. So it's giving a class cache exception just because this address object, okay, this address object, what happened is it's trying to compare with 200, which is a integer, but it's not identical or it's not a realistic scenario to have multiple objects. It's not a very realistic scenario to have multiple objects, okay, as a key in a collection. The keys will be of very similar data types. Values can be of any data types, that is accepted. But in a very realistic scenario, keys will be of similar data type, not multiple data types. But just for discussion, we have used keys of multiple data types. But in a very realistic scenario, keys will be of very similar data type. But values can be of similar data type or different data type. But keys will be of similar data type. Okay? If you don't keep keys of similar data type, in some executions there is a chance of getting class cache exceptions. Okay. So we should keep keys with similar data type in a realistic scenario. But HashMap will allow to have keys of different data types and values of different data types. But as a realistic scenario, we won't have keys with multiple data types. Keys, all the keys will be of only one object, not multiple objects. Okay? And most of the scenarios, key will be a string. In 80% of the scenarios, key will be a string. Okay? Good. Great.
What is the reason, sir? Where will you use this operation, sir? And where will you use this, sir? The lab collection.
If you want to go for, let's consider like, you have list of countries, list of states, and list of some pin codes. So we need to display them as a drop down in a HTML page. Then how you represent? You need to send them to the drop down. Okay, you need to send them to the HTML page or some other page, whatever the page it might be. So how we can send them as a whole? So we'll have a map with key as a string, country list. Let's consider that. Just let me write a very simple thing like okay, I'll add okay. Now I'll have the same state list. So now this is different entity and that is different entity. But as a whole, we should send this information. So what we'll do? We'll go for a map. In the map, what we'll do is we'll put a key value pair. Comma, value is the same way. And we'll send this map. We'll send this map to the HTML page. And the HTML page we will access based on the key get of something, some key, and we will iterate them into the dropdown. Understood? So, if we want to represent multiple entries, multiple key values pairs as a whole, then we go for map. Let's consider like if you want to add address objects, if you want to add 100 address objects. We want to represent a collection which has 100 address objects. Do we need to go for a map? If you want to have a collection which contains 100 address objects, do we need to go for a map? If you want to go for a collection which contains 100 address objects, do we need to go for a map? For that purpose, we will go for a list or set. So, in that case, 100 address objects means that doesn't contain any key value pair. So we can directly go for a list or set. Let's consider like we should have a collection of 100 address objects, okay, which is identified by the address ID. Then what you do? Go, the address ID should be the key and the value should be the address object. So, based on the requirement, we go for a specific collection. Okay? If you want to go for a key value pair, definitely map should be used. Okay? Understood? Just let me remove that, it's not required at present. And again, in any worst case, keys will be identical. Okay? But hash map allows keys with multiple data types. Here is and one more very important thing is, for a list and set, the load factor will be 1. But for a map, the load factor will be 0.75. Okay? The load factor will be different for a map, it is 0.75. That means, if we add, let's consider like the initial capacity of the list is 10. If we try to add the 11th element, then what will be the size of the list? What will be the capacity of the list? If we have 10, initial capacity of a list or set will be 10. If we try to add 11th element for a list or set, what could be the latest capacity? Double. 10 plus load factor into current capacity, 10. So 20, double. But here, if the 10 is the initial capacity, okay, if 10 is the initial capacity, okay, then the load factor will be increased for 10 plus 10 into 0.75. That means at most 17 or 18. Again, from 18 to 18 plus 18 into 0.75 for that size. Okay, like that, the load factor will be 0.75 for a map. But the load factor will be 1 for a list and set. I hope all of you know what is load factor. Those who have attended for the first class will definitely know what is load factor.
New hash map. Actually, if you take any block, then we write a new map only.
But new map is interface, right? Map is interface. How we can write new map? Map is an interface. Any stream will be an interface. Set is an interface, list is an interface, even map is also an interface. Okay? And by default, all the map implementations are not synchronized. By default, all the map implementations are not synchronized. Okay, sorry. Hash table is synchronized by default. Except hash table, all of the map implementations are not synchronized. Hash table is a synchronized map. Hash table is a synchronized map by default, but the remaining implementations are not synchronized by default. The remaining implementations are not synchronized by default. Hash table is synchronized by default, and the remaining map implementations are not synchronized by default. So, to go for a synchronized map, we use the same collections class. Collections dot synchronized map. We go for the same collections class where we have a synchronized map method to make a map as synchronized. But hash table is by default synchronized. We need not to go for collections.synchronized map. But for the other implementations like hash map, linked hash map, tree map, weak hash map, we should go for synchronized map. Understood? Like a hash map, even we have a linked hash map. The only difference between hash map and a linked hash map is order. Okay, linked hash map will give the entries in the insertion order, but the hash map will never guarantee the entries in the insertion order. Linked hash map will guarantee elements in an insertion order, but hash map will never guarantee the order of elements. Hash map doesn't follow any order, but linked hash map will have an insertion order. So, you see here, there's some class exception. Let me add the keys of similar databases. It's idealistic to add keys of similar data types to avoid the class cast exceptions. So, key 1, key 2, key 3, key 4, key 5. Okay, so let me have one second. That is personal. Sorry, here let me remove this code which is causing the exception. So now you see here linked hash map is giving key 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, but if we go for the same thing as a hash map, we cannot guarantee the order. So 3, 4, 1, 5, 2. There is no order. Order is not followed here. Okay, and both hash map as well as linked hash map can accept any value as a key as well as any object as a value. Both hash map as well as linked hash map will accept any object as a key as well as any object as a value. There is no restriction. Even null values are allowed as keys as well as values. For hash map as well as linked hash map, null values are allowed both as keys as well as values. Okay? For both hash map as well as linked hash map, null values are allowed both as keys as well as values. And hash map will not give any order, linked hash map will give insertion order. And performance wise, hash map is far better when compared to linked hash map. Hash map will give better performance when compared to linked hash map. And the next one is a hash table. Hash table is a legacy entity. In security, both are the same. Both are not synchronized. Next one is a hash table. Hash table is a legacy class. That means, like a vector, even hash table exists from the very initial versions of Java. And hash table is by default synchronized. All the methods are synchronized in hash table. All the methods in hash table are synchronized. So hash table will give better performance. Will give better security, but the least performance. Hash table will give better security, but the least performance. But the methods are same. Put, get, remove, all the methods are same. Contains key, contain value, all the methods are same for a hash map or linked hash map or even hash table. But for a hash table, null values are not allowed as keys. For a hash table, null values are not allowed as keys. Just let me import the hash table. Null values are not allowed as keys for a hash table. So it was compiled, go to the classes, execute application. It is giving null butter exception. Just because hash table will never allow null values as keys. But in case of hash map as well as linked hash map, null values are allowed as keys as well as values. But for hash table, null values are not allowed as keys, but null values are allowed as values. Null is allowed as a value for a hash table. Null is allowed as a value for hash table. But null is not allowed as a key for hash table. Sorry, just it's a mistake. Null value is not allowed both as a key as well as a value for hash table. For hash table, null value is not allowed both as a key as well as a value. Nulls are not at all allowed in a hash table. Just modify that. Nulls are not at all allowed in a hash table, either as key or as a value. This was a mistake on my side. Null values are not allowed in a hash table both as key as well as a value. Now, when we go for a hash table means when we want to go for a map or when we want to go for a key value pair which is thread safe, then we go for hash table. If we want to go for a key value pair which gives the best performance, we go for hash map. If we want to go for a key value pair which follows insertion order, we go for linked hash map. Okay? Like that, the collection, the map stream will be. Understood the basic properties of a map stream, and there are two entities that we are still need to discuss. Okay? That is tree map weak hash map. Okay, that we'll discuss in the next class. And most probably, and not most probably, tomorrow morning I have work to go early to the office, just because I will be moving early from the office in the evening. So I will inform you later. Up to Sunday there will not be any classes, but I will inform you later when the classes will be. Okay? But up to now, just make use of this time, this gap to revise the things. Don't feel free. Okay? Don't feel free and relaxed. Okay? Just tune yourself, fine tune yourself by revising the existing concepts. We have a lot more concepts where we have discussed, at least we have discussed for 2.5 months, right? I think we have discussed even more than that. At least we have discussed for 2 to 2.5 months. So we have a lot more concepts to revise. So take this as an opportunity to revise the concepts, not to feel free, not to feel relaxed. Okay? Java is like a linked language, like a chain language.